right, Victor. So Sailin just came out. Tell me about that. How did that come about? How did that song find you?
I'm sailing, whoa, I'm sailing away to the sun. Dang, good question. How did it find me? Because I do feel that the songs find me. It's interesting that you say that. Um, man, this was one day. It was like the end of fall into winter, so that kind of period where you feel that winter is coming. You feel that the leaves are kind of they're getting orange, kind of the time that we're living right now, right? It was that time of fall where the leaves are orange, they're falling off the trees, so you walk on the streets and it's kind of littered with fallen leaves, and you have this feeling that the winter is about to come. And for me, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the winter, so that means cold, dry days, gray, snowy. Uh, there's just that lack of life, right? That lack of like a natural life. Um, so that's where kind of sailing comes from. It was me wanting to sail away to the sun, really like imagining just kind of floating towards the sun and wherever the sun is. Like I've always been very fascinated about like traveling like airports, traveling on airplanes and stuff. And I've had that view like where I've been sitting on the window and you can see the sun rising as you're kind of passing through. And so is that feeling, is that like longing for summer? It's that
I remember you played me an early version, like on guitar, on like acoustic, and it was really beautiful. And then later you played me like this composition. Like,
yeah, put it
how
all
did you go
together.
from the acoustic version to the production?
Yeah, so I started kind of just playing guitar, right? And these words kind of came out like, I'm on the rooftop sailing, whoa. And I just had, this kind of chorus, and in my head, I kept building it up, right? What I played for you was just, that first kind of initial idea, that sketch. I recorded that guitar part into Logic long enough to have like the chorus, then the verse, and then the chorus again, and another verse. And then I started kind of filling into it, and then certain melodies like would come to me once I had the chorus already wrote itself when I was just noodling on the guitar.
Mhm.
But once I had the chorus, then then those pockets for different melodies kind of started coming to me. Like started with the first verse, like, girl, I remember you told me that night on 17. Those like little melodies that just started coming. And really the first verse is a story of, you know, a promise of love, right? And perhaps a promise that was broken. So really that first verse is about broken promises and broken promises in love, right? Uh, I want to say maybe there's a little bit of personal stories there, but just from that feeling of really the winter, the sadness, the darkness, like embracing the sadness and seeing kind of the beauty that can come from that. That's really the songwriting vibe that I was on at that period. Was it was the impending winter, some of the cold days, rainy. Like I used to have to walk to the studio every day, so I guess I really had that time to let that vibe sink in, right? So that's the same around the same time that I wrote Hoje Eu Não Tô Bem. Hoje eu não tô bem. Hoje eu não tô bem. Just like letting that vibe sink in of like that negativity, that sadness, that usually I would fight, but because I was, making that concerted effort and to turn that into music, to turn that into art, like with Hoje Eu Não Tô Bem, I was like, all right, let me see what comes from this, right? And so that guitar riff was just me playing around with the guitar, and that the hook just really came naturally, just imagining myself floating away to a land where it was always sunny, it was always perfect, and I could always be wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of your music is very tropical inspired. Would you say that like you is that just reflecting out of you, or are you like reaching for that? Are you trying to manifest that?
Wow, that's a really good question and really well said. Um, I would say it's a little bit of both. It's definitely something that I try to reach for in my music. It's definitely something that, we moved to Canada at a very young age. Um, and even though we've been here for over 20 years, like I still can't get used to a winter, right? Like I still get sad. I still get kind of affected, right, by the winter. And so music has always been my escape when I feel these kind of gray and cloudy days, when I feel like, oh, well, what's the point like of getting out of bed today? It's like music was always able to transport me to a place where it was sunny, I was happy, I was moving, like even if I wasn't feeling like it, right? So I would say definitely I try to channel that in the music that I make because that's what I feel inside me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mentioned like you music finds you. Can you get more into that, like your creative process and like how you believe, what you believe about creativity and the universe?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Yeah, I mean, when I'm in the studio or there's an energy that I feel exists in the universe, and we've talked about this before, but it exists in everything. I mean, it's so cliche to say there's an energy in the universe, um, but it's silly to think there isn't, right? Like literally, light rays are energy that reflects off our eyes, and we can only see a little small percentage of those rays, right? So, if you study like what is it, dark matter, dark energy?
Yeah,
If you
that
study that kind of stuff, you'll see that there is an energy, right? And music is no different from that energy. Music is literally vibration and frequency. Um, so really, when I'm in the studio, there's a lot of times where I feel the music comes to me, the melodies come to me, right? And not that they're kind of like floating around and I find them, but it's something greater than myself. Like it's not necessarily just something that comes from me, right? And we've talked about this before. Like energy is out there, right? It's when we're in the studio or when we're getting together, and why I like working together is that we're able to channel that vibe, right? We're able to bring out that energy and that vibration and set up the room, like the chakra, the energy of the session in a way that we are ready to receive those messages, right? Ready to receive those melodies, ready to kind of hear what the universe is sending us, right? And so I'm definitely a big believer that everything that comes to me from the studio, it comes to me, right? And it's kind of maybe it's like lightning, right? Like a lightning bolt kind of finds where it's going to hit the ground. Like
yeah,
we try to set that up in our sessions. We're like, okay, how can we be that lightning rod for that creativity? And something that we did the last session, which was like really got the energy up right in the beginning. Like it's tough to start when maybe you're already running late and maybe already some things are happening, but setting that intention, setting that vibe, being conscious about the message that you want to kind of spread, or being conscious about just living, right? Like I was saying about sailing, like just being conscious about like, oh, I'm feeling this emotion that's negative to me. Like it's not a positive emotion to be sad, right? But there's positivity and there's beauty that can come from that and from everything.
yeah. I've heard someone said like when you're sculpting, like the sculpture is already in the marble, and I'm just bringing it out. And that's kind of how I see like making music. Is like I'm not making this; I'm carving out what it should sound like. Like,
Yeah,
and based on my frequency and my vibration, what I can hear and carve out and like create. Which is what's great about working with other artists is like you get to see how what their frequency and their vibration is able to carve out from the song,
absolutely. Yeah.
like different than what you can.
Yeah. So with sailing, I mean, I really try to hone in and tune into that frequency of happiness in sadness, right? Of like life goes on, of finding the reason to go on, right? And I think that's the power that music has always had for me, to me, is to transport me to somewhere else. So sailing immediately, once I put that kind of chorus together, it immediately started taking me away, right? and I knew I wanted to keep it very acoustic. So the instruments that I played on it, like it's just guitar. It's just me playing literally like my acoustic nylon classical guitar. I added some effects. I think there's about 3 or 4 different tracks of guitar. And for the drums, again, I wanted to keep it really, really natural. So I picked up this cajon sample, like that Logic has stock, and I just kind of did it out on the table. And then I did it on the MIDI controller, like just in the rhythm that I wanted, and just found that kind of like that little groove, that little pocket for it. And I could still hear it. Like I like hearing those little ear candies in other people's songs. Like I hope people can hear that as well. Like the little, the little offbeats and the off like little rhythms that I added with the cajon and the percussion.
Nice. So Sailing's very different from like the other songs that you've released so far.
Yeah.
Do you think that are you kind of like are you drifting in a different direction, or are you kind of just hitting or getting for your next releases? Are you going to be hitting all over the place? Like
that's a good point. Like that's actually a great question. Something that I've started kind of thinking more about. Yeah, I think it's interesting to find. Like, I don't want to say like I'm drifting in that direction, but I guess I'm drifting in the direction of like where the music brings me, right? Like, I guess when I started releasing those other songs and when I was composing those other songs during the pandemic, right? I was in Brazil, so I was, more attuned to that writing in Portuguese, and I still love writing in Portuguese. I still think there's so much that I can kind of do with the language. It's so beautiful already. It's so melodic in and of itself. But look at me now, right? Like I didn't have any instruments back then. Like when I started these productions and these compositions, I didn't have any instruments, so I had to produce on my own on my computer. Now I'm lucky to have these instruments and play live and have the time and curiosity to learn, right, the bass, right, and kind of add those live instrumentation. So I was literally just hearing like the vault, if you will, the works that I have, and it's kind of like disco, funky, groovy, like R&B. It's getting really bassy. It's getting really fun, and so yeah, like I'm not saying it's one specific genre that I want to get to, but like I'm playing around with the toys that I have in my little toy box, if you will.
Yeah. So the first few songs, you wrote them. It was during the pandemic. You were in Brazil.
Yeah.
Sailing, you wrote. You were in Canada. It was like fall turning winter.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of what we got. What has your life been like recently? What have you been in for these recent songs that you've been writing, and what can we expect out of those in the upcoming songs?
You're a great interviewer, my friend. Yeah. So recently, I mean, my life has been taking a beautiful turn. It's honestly ever since I put it out to the universe that I wanted to do music and I wanted to live off music. The universe has been nothing but reciprocating, and I am so grateful and blessed for that. I work in the industry, so my job takes me everywhere, allows me to travel and connect with people. And, while that keeps me busy, it's given me so much energy and gas and a boost for kind of new projects to come. So with Real Music Collective, shout out Real Music Collective, we are now ramping up production. We're now ramping up creation of songs, and ramping up kind of the community aspect, which is really what Real Music Collective is about. It's about the collective. So we've got a bunch of projects coming out. We're getting in the studio and we're collaborating with a bunch of artists. We've got some interviews coming up with artists. I've always wanted to kind of dive behind the scenes. Some of my friends, some of my favorite artists, and hear their songs, kind of like hear that creative process and where certain elements came from. And now, luckily, some of those artists are my friends. So we were able to kind of get some of them together, and we're still kind of putting together the first season for that. So that's coming out soon. New music is always going to be coming out. But really, like the collective, getting people together, bringing people together, and just kind of vibing on that same frequency. I've gotten a lot of love since Sailin came out, and I want to say thank you, first of all, to the people who have, taken the time to listen, to send messages, to appreciate it. So there's a lot more where that came from, and please keep streaming Sailing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us more about Real Music Collective. Like, what can we expect from Real Music Collective coming forward? Like a collaborative album or?
Dang,
what?
that's a good question, man. I mean, really, I don't think I'm at liberty to discuss. So, Real Music Collective, we've now been working, it's now up to 4 artists, and all 4 of us have been working really hard, not only on our own careers, but we've been having these real music sessions where we're all getting in the studio with the intent of progress, right? Slow and steady progress, but progress nonetheless. So we usually give ourselves 4 hours to create a brand new song from scratch, and it's really a lot of fun. We get 4 artists who are really at different vibes, but really when they come together bring this sort of energy that's unique. And so I'm really excited about the music that's coming out from there. Obviously a lot of content is coming out from there. We're making sure that people can be a fly on the wall. Something that I wish or want to have for myself is like, I want to see more studio sessions. I want to be in with artists. I want to kind of see how people create and how we can all kind of benefit and collaborate, benefit from each other, really. So it's been great kind of working with those guys. We're going to have a lot of content for the people to watch, to see kind of what goes down, how ideas get made, and how problems get solved together. And then on the other side, I mean, who knows what's to come? A collaborative album, a couple of EPs. We want to start throwing more events to get the community together and give people a space to hang out freely with no pressure, with no emotions about it, with where everybody can kind of feel free to be themselves and celebrate art and make art and talk about art and just kind of celebrate the beauty of life.
Awesome. In the spirit of manifestation, can you name an artist that you'd want to work with in the future? Like a dream collab for you?
I can name several artists that I would love to collaborate with. Childish Gambino, I think one of the few. Talk about like playing in a bunch of sandboxes and just like the creative mind of Donald Glover. Like, we followed his story and kind of his come up, and we've related to that struggle of like just having all this stuff to say, and the creativity, the fact that man was a writer on 30 Rock, an actor, like, a producer, makes his own music, like the career that he's been able to carve out for himself is absolutely incredible. And man, honestly, I want to get into the studio with everybody, as many people as I can. Like I said, I want to be a sponge. Like I am a sponge. I've always believed in never being the smartest person in the room. So I want to get in as many rooms where I'm the dumbest person there, and I want to learn from people and soak up energy, soak up charisma, soak up what's the vibe that's happening, and obviously contribute, being a mirror to that. Like in my daily intentions, I always said that, like, may I be a mirror reflecting the positive energy of the universe, like back out, because I think that's important. Again, manifesting a dream collab, Donald Glover, Howell Seixas, now possible. Kanye West. Maybe hanging out would be interesting. I mean, I've loved Kanye West music since I was a kid. Q-Tip, J Dilla, which wouldn't be possible. De La Soul, I would love to do a song together. Going Brazilian, Gabriel Pensador. I would love to do a track with Gabriel Pensador. I would love to smoke some weed with Gabriel Pensador. Matue, obviously, like, especially now that he's taken it to a different wave. Like, I would love to make something together in Portuguese and English, studying that, that kind of the things that we have in common together, the musicality. Honestly, more than anything, I look forward to making more music with Vino.
Oh, I'm Vino. That's awesome.
Sailin.